All right, this is going to be an overview of the Google Chromebook. It starts in seconds, thousands of apps, built-in virus protection, and backs up your stuff to the cloud. Very lightweight, basically cloud version of a laptop. There's a great video here that you can play to see what Chrome OS is, and basically it allows you to leverage the web when you're working on the web, storing your stuff. All your stuff is on the web that's accessible to as well. Really highly suggest you watch that video. So the first parts of this is going to just be some basics about working with the touchpad. It may be a little different if you're from the PC world. If you're from the MacBook world, it'll make you feel very comfortable because it works more like a MacBook trackpad. Obviously, when you just move your finger around the touchpad, that's what it does. And then you can click, which would move me out to this resource here. Just more information about how your touchpad works on a Chromebook. A lot of things in this presentation are clickable. So that one click got me there, or a click up here, single click. A right click's a little tricky for those who are from the PC world. It's actually two fingers clicking at the same time, and that's how you can open up your context menu. So for example, if I wanted to copy this URL, I'd do two fingers to click, hit copy. There's also a shortcut too, if you're not too great at that, is if you just click and highlight something like the word presentation, for instance, and I have trouble with two finger clicking, I can hold down the Alt key and use a single click, which is very similar to a right click, or it is a right click. You can also scroll with two fingers. It's not going to work in this presentation. Actually, just scroll me through the different slideshows when I use two fingers to go up and down on the touchpad. I'll go to a website to show you that in action. So that lets me scroll up and down with just two fingers moving up and down on the trackpad, instead of having to come over to here to find that bar to move up and down. And you can also scroll left and right horizontally. That'll take you back a page or forward a page on a website. So if you go to a website and you go forward or back, it'll let you move through a presentation. Again, like I said, everything is clickable. So if you want to learn a little bit more, this will take you out to a website on using your Chromebook trackpad. And there's even more abilities to do more things with your trackpad than just that. For example, if I swipe up with three fingers, it shows me all my different windows that are open, etc. If I do three fingers left or right, if I have several different tabs too as well, it'll go to my previous or next tab. So that's three finger swiping too. So there's a lot more to it than just the ones that I've listed here, but the basics. We talked about if it's not easy for you to right click with two fingers, you do Alt and click, single click, gives you that right click option. Talk about the scrolling up. These are all just reminders. Swipe left or right with three fingers to switch different tabs too as well. There are different keys on a Chromebook at the top instead of the normal function keys that you would normally see on a PC. That's built for the web, so that's why these keys exist. Newer Chromebooks actually are losing this forward button. Older Chromebooks have the back button and forward button, which basically work the same as your browser back and forth buttons too as well. Your reload key is the same as this too as well. Obviously, when you move your hands off the keypad to get to the touchpad to move up to this, it slows you down. So using keyboard shortcuts and using keys is a lot faster, improving your efficiency. So you can either reload the page using this, or on the top of the keyboard of a Chromebook, that key exists too as well. The maximize window just puts you into full screen, losing the browser bar, and then just clicking it again takes you out of that method too as well. And the window switcher key is a nice little key too. You can move to see which other windows. You can hop between windows a little quicker, so you can multitask. This is really good in the classroom because now you can see what your kids are on. A lot of times they'll hide a game or something that they want to stay off task on in the background, and you can just walk by and say, hey, could you please click the cookie or whatever website they're off task on. Other keys too as well is decreasing the the brightness of the screen, or increasing the brightness of the screen. A trick some kids do too as well is their friend will go to the bathroom and they'll decrease the screen brightness all the way down to black, and then it's a struggle to figure out why the Chromebook isn't turning on when actually the brightness level is just all the way down. Also, students should be aware of the mute key And the volume up, volume down keys, obviously, when you're using technology in the classroom. Videos are going to play loudly, and kids, if they don't know where these keys are, will kind of freak out and be kind of embarrassed at first. Don't make it a big deal, just show them where the buttons are. Again, depending upon your model of Chromebook, these keys might be a little bit different too as well. And there's just a simple version of a keyboard. You may notice some things too as well. It says Backspace here, and that's basically your Backspace. If you do want to use a delete key, you'd have to hold down the Alt and the Backspace key at the same time. Also, you notice the caps lock key is a search key. When you push that, it just basically brings up your search bar so that you can actually search the web too as well, or it can be changed to become a caps lock key if you really wanted to. But there are some cool things you can do with this, and we'll talk about that in a later slide too as well. If you want to turn it into a caps lock key, this link will take you out to help you understand how you can change that in the keyboard settings down here, and some other issues with your keyboard. A little bit more details there too as well. Again, to use a Backspace, you'd have to hold down the Alt key and Backspace. And then there's all keyboard shortcuts. If you don't hold down Control Alt question mark, it'll bring up all the keyboard shortcuts that your Chromebook has available to you. One of the most favorite one is taking a partial screenshot here, Control Shift multiple windows, switcher key here. But there's lots and lots of shortcuts that you can't even imagine exist on a Chromebook. And the reason those shortcuts exist is to make it accessible for those who maybe aren't able to use their hands or both hands, or etc., for accessibility features too. So just want to make sure you know one of the most probably versatile one is taking screenshots. If you need to, this will click out to more shortcuts too as well. So if I do Control Shift multiple windows key, it darkens my screen and changes my pointer into a crosshair. And then when I click and drag, it's actually going to take a picture, and I'll kind of cut this picture off a little bit so you see it actually took a picture and not just selecting text. And then the Chromebook says, okay, you just took a screenshot, and it actually gets stored in the Chromebook's downloaded folder area. So there is some hard storage area inside a Chromebook. The nice thing is it gives you this option, just copy to the clipboard. So if I'm actually in a presentation, and I'm just going to this slide that I'm on now I have this image of that text that I just took. I can resize and move around. Notice it's not editable text. It's actually an image now that I took a picture of. So that's really nice because you can take a picture of anything online. So you could even show like menus or things like that and copy it to a clipboard and then paste it into a presentation, or paste it into a document or drawing or Google spreadsheet or something like that. Everything then, when you do take a screenshot, ends up in the Files app, which should be down on your shelf on the bottom part of your Chromebook. If you don't see it, if you hit the launcher and then expand it, you'll see eventually the Files app, and then you can right-click on that Files app and pin it to the shelf if you want to get to the files that are stored on your Chromebook. Any app that you'd like to pin, maybe you go to YouTube a lot, so you can right-click on that and pin it to the shelf. And now obviously I have it twice down here. So if I don't like it, when in doubt, you just right-click and I can hit unpin to as well. But that Files app, we'll talk a little bit about it in a little bit. Again, anything you click on here will take you out to more resources. So just a quick overview, you have these different tabs up top of your Chromebook on the Chrome browser. Talking more about Chrome browser in a later presentation. The Omnibox is up here. You have your bookmarks that I've hidden right now. You have extensions over here, but really specific to the Chromebook is this status bar that's down below. Google just updated the Chrome OS kind of user interface, so it looks a little bit different than what the screenshot is up here. So they went to more of a black theme, but this is where you can change your Wi-Fi, you can turn on Bluetooth, there's notifications, you can cast your screen, there's a lot of accessibility features you can turn on, which we'll take a look at in a little bit, your volume, your dimmer for your screen brightness. So this is basically where you click to get to that information. It's called the status area or status bar along your shelf. I showed you how you could pin and unpin apps, and from the launcher is where you would kind of find your apps that you've installed either from the Chrome Web Store or online at the Play Store, because now Chromebooks can also run Android apps. So if you're using Google Maps a lot, you can just right-click and pin that to the shelf. And this is called the launcher. So that's just basically the overlay of the Chromebook. That OS launcher, Chrome OS launcher and apps menu, we talked about that a little bit too as well. Sometimes if your Chromebook's configured, that search key, when you click that search key, it pops up that search window so that you can search the web or your apps right here too as well, or open up that launcher a little bit further to scroll through all your apps you may have installed. Something like Readium, which allows you to read EPUB files, is a nice web app online. So your managed files area, we talked briefly about that, but I'll dive into it a little bit deeper. So from the launcher, you can open this, or I have it pinned on my shelf. And basically anytime I download something or take a screenshot, notice it called it screenshot and time stamped it and date stamped it. But anytime you download something, it'll come into your downloads folder. You also have an area for play files. Now that Chromebooks run Android apps, this is where they store that data those apps need, like what level you're on a different game or something like that. You can also go right to your Google Drive from here. I highly suggest going through the web and going to Google Drive. It's just a lot faster, more efficient working in the web browser than working in this small window. But realize the Google Drive that's online is the same Google Drive that's here. This is just a different view of it. So you can take something from your downloads folder, and if you want to put it up to your Google Drive, you can just drag and drop it to your Google Drive, and it'll upload that file to your Google Drive. And I just uploaded this screenshot that I just took. So if I go to my recent area, there it is right there. Now it's in my Google Drive. It came from, it came from my Manage Files app by dragging and dropping it. So again, this Google Drive is the same as the web version. It's just a different interface here in the Files app. So you do have storage, and quite a bit of storage on your Chromebook. But if you do want to come and clean it up, you can select the first thing and select the last thing, and then trash them to kind of clean up what files are stored locally on your Chromebook too as well. You can go in and right click on these things and like rename them, delete them, all different types of options that you can do inside this Files app with some sharing features. And you can view things a little bit differently rather than list view or icon view. You can sort them. So there's, again, it's just basically very similar to my computer of a PC if you're used to that. Also, you can edit Word, Excel, and PowerPoints on a Chromebook. I'll see if I can find one here. I should be able to find a doc. There we go. So when you open up a Word document on a Chromebook, if you have this extension installed, Office Editing for docs, sheets, and slides, it'll bring you into a Word editor. It's not the full-blown editor. You notice the menus are very simple and not very robust, but you can then open it up as a Google document to get more of the functionality of a Google document. But you can actually work on a Word document, and then you can download it and send it back to somebody else. But highly suggest you working in Google's ecosystem to get the advantage of collaboration and saving things. This will take you out to the Chrome Web Store to install that extension so that you can edit Office files on a Chromebook. We talked about dragging and dropping through Google Drive, so here's more information on that if you'd like to learn and read a little bit more about that. We talked about the Chromebook settings a little bit, where they're located. Again, you notice the different theme that has changed now, but basically this is where I can simply power off the device. I can also lock it so no one else can get on the Chromebook unless they know my password. I can also sign out from the top. I can minimize this to just the essential settings too as well. You notice that I'm sharing my screen through this recording, and that's what you're seeing here. I can maximize this a little bit, choose a different Wi-Fi network. All that type of stuff is here. Your volume here as well, but again, you have keyboard access to your volume. The basic main feature that you should know about is updating your Chromebook. Now, Chromebook should update automatically, but it might be a troubleshooting step of when you're having trouble with a Chromebook. It might just need to go out and look for an update. So they're randomly going out looking for an update every so often. If you never shut down your Chromebook and just close it, that update will never apply. So sometimes you do need to shut it down. Our teachers have figured out that, like on Friday in our elementary schools where we have carts, is we have the students turn off the Chromebooks on Friday. And then on Monday, when they turn them on, those Chromebooks are usually updated. But basically, if you just go into the settings, and if you didn't see that I clicked on the status area and went up to this gear up here to the settings, it looks very similar to the brightness thing now, but it is up top here to the settings. And then I call it the hamburger menu, or these three lines up here built into the settings. There's an About Chrome OS option, and that's where you can check what version of the operating system you have, and you can hit check for updates. And mine is up to date, but maybe yours isn't. And then it'll download that update, and then it'll say restart to apply updates. It'll also pop up down here to tell you that it's ready to apply an update. The neat thing about Chromebooks is they restart in about 10-15 seconds at most, and then that updated operating system will be there. There's a link out to the accessibility features of a Chromebook. I'm going to talk a lot more about that in a moment too as well. So here's just more information and a visual for updating your Chromebook, and clicking out helps you out with that too as well. And many people think you can't do much when a Chromebook's offline, but you can do pretty much anything you need to do, really. View photos, edit photos, watch movies, play music, read books, depending upon the apps you have installed. Some apps do work offline in the Chrome Web Store, it'll tell you that, or not. What we have found with our students is basically they just open up the document or spreadsheet or whatever as a tab, and before they go offline, a lot of times that's the easiest way. So if they have a trip to go to for maybe after school sport or something, and they're on the bus for a while, they'll just open up their docs and their spreadsheets and their presentations in different tabs. And then when they close the Chromebook and get on the bus and then open up the Chromebook, they can access that online. If you need help with this, here's a link out, as well as you'll need to install the Google Docs offline extension. Basically, how it works is when you go into your Google Drive, and you're signed into your Chromebook and you're in the same Google Drive account as what you're signed in on the Chromebook, is in the settings gear of your Google Drive. You can go into the settings here. And since files are stored on Google Drive, that's the reason why this is here. But you'll notice there's an offline selection, and you have to sync Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Drawings files to this computer so you can edit them offline. So you have to check that. Once you do check it, it should prompt you to install the Google Docs offline extension. Once you do add that, it's automatically installed. And it doesn't live up here. It does live in the extensions area of your Chrome browser. So if you would look back here, you would see that you have it installed and it's enabled. If you have it off, it'll warn you that you have it off, that you can enable it for offline access to files. If you need more help with that, there's a link here out to a blog post from Chrome Story, which is a really great site to learn more about Google Chrome and Chromebooks. Okay, just a real quick information on accessibility. There's a screen magnifier, and basically allows you to zoom in on a screen. I'm doing that now. I'm not sure if it's being recorded on the video or not. If you want to learn about that, you can click out. There's even a large mouse, high contrast. So these are all meant for visually impaired students. And I have them turned on for me, where I've selected speak, dictation, high contrast mode. So where that is, again, if I go into the settings gear, it pops up this blue menu, and then I can type in accessibility. And what it does is filter out anywhere that word accessibility is. And I see down here is manage accessibility features. Chromebox is for someone who's cannot read or see, pretty much. And when you turn that on, it basically takes over your computer. So just be wary. Control-Alt-Z is the shortcut to turn it off. So it is now on. So when I click on things, it will be reading back to me. But
you are online. Deleted shapes. Page change. Slide 16 of 19. Chromebook spoken feedback.
So you can hear it. With anything you click on, it'll give you feedback on. There's also enable select to speak. And basically, you just highlight stuff you want to read. And then if you hit search S, oops.
Welcome to the G Suite for Education Professional Learning series, which includes performance tasks. This website contains a series of webinars to help the wheel.
So you even notice it didn't read the whole word build. So if you want to, you can just highlight the word. This is really great for young readers or struggling readers too as well, not only visually impaired people too as well. So that was the built-in screen reader along with the select to speed. The built-in screen reader is called Chromebook is the project that they've created. The high contrast mode, since I have my accessibilities turned on, I can actually turn it on right from here, and you can see it inverts colors to make it easier to read. There's even a magnifier. There's all different types of things here too as well. If you noticed in the settings, I didn't go to every setting available. As you go down below, there's a lot of different things. There's the high contrast mode, the screen magnifier. When you do turn this on, it automatically zooms in, and the shortcut is to hold down the Control-Alt keys, and then your brightness of your screen and your dimness of your screen zooms in and out of the screen for you. Or you can do holding down Control and Alt. You can use 2-finger swipe up and down to zoom in and out too as well. One of the ones that our kids love to do is large mouse or something like there it is, large mouse. This drives me nuts, but that might be nice for presenting too as well. People see it a little bit easier, but some kids like that. I do have my red circle around my mouse, so when I move it, I do like that when I'm presenting so people can see where I am on the screen, but you can turn that off too as well. I've gotten so used to it that I just leave it on all the time now too as well. Dictation's a pretty wild one, and basically when you're inside any text field, if you turn on dictation, which you can see I have it on in my settings, if I hit the search key with D, now it's actually going to read my voice and type for me, and this works in any text field, any email, any document, and basically just types for you. I can just turn that off as you talk. So dictation is a really nice tool, again, for maybe kids that are young and don't know how to write yet, or for kids who do struggle with writing. Maybe they're good storytellers. If you need more help, this links out to Google's site for Chromebook help, as well as this playlist of videos that I found on YouTube. Really good breakdown of what Chromebooks are, how to use them, etc. So there's a lot of videos there for you. If you'd like to achieve a badge with your Chromebook quiz, you just need to click on this to go ahead and take your quiz. And the quiz at the end of it will ask you to upload a picture, a screenshot, to make sure you know how to take a screenshot. But basically, it's just testing your knowledge of the different parts of a Chromebook. So go ahead for your badge, and once you submit it, we'll get you back your badge if you get it over an 80%. Have a great day.